Mutant children are ready to show their extraordinary powers. But evil personalities are also dominant and want to kill them with their canine dog. The little girl's life is in danger, and our hero helps her to survive and take revenge. The movie opens up when Terk needs money to pay for his younger sister Pavana's schooling. He sells psych for Garrett's business, and one afternoon Terk goes up to him to show that he's been practicing his ability to blend in with his surroundings in order to get a raise. Garrett says no though, and someone in the gang pushes Terk away. After that, Garrett goes to where Police Sergeant Kingston is giving a talk about the newest K9 units to people in the area. People have been complaining lately about how mean Guardians are and how many powers they kill, so this is a nice thing to do. If the K9s see someone with a gun, they will jump on them. If the person raises their hands though, they will leave them. Another person watching the show is Pavana. When she looks at the robot dog, her eyes light up. That night, Garrett has one of his men hide the bribe money in the same place he always does. Following him, Terk takes the money for himself when the other person leaves. Kingston shows up at that very moment, making Kingston very angry about the missing money. Terk quickly runs to hide. Because Kingston has his men search the area, Terk hides with his powers. But an officer sees the shape of his face, so he has to run away. Pavana sees that her brother hasn't come home yet and goes to find him at the same time. The police send a K9 after Terk and a crazy chase starts. Terk hides in an empty building after running away for a long time. When the K9 gets closer, he uses his powers to make it look like a pile of fabric. Luckily, the K9's scanner doesn't notice the difference, and the robot quickly leaves, giving Terk a chance to get away. But just as Terk is about to go home, the K9 finds him again. Terk raises his hands in fear and the dog sits down. But the police see this on the robot's cameras and have it give Terk a special poison that kills powers. Terk wiggles in pain until he dies, just as Pavana shows up to see what's going on. The dog comes after her when she screams, but the camera goes dark. Kingston goes to the police station in the morning to check on the K9 that was taken down last night. The IT guy has no idea what happened. The only thing that gives him a clue is the last second of the recording, which shows a girl. Several police officers are sent out right away to find her. At the same time, it was shown that Connor got out of jail and has been working as a cleaner at the community center without using his powers. He finds that the back shed's lock has been broken when he goes outside to take out the trash. He goes inside and sees Pavana, who is scared and throws trash at him. Connor tells her he won't hurt her, and he gets her inside. His boss, Mina, comforts her and gets her to tell her what happened. A police officer suddenly knocks on the door, so Mina goes to talk to him while Connor and Pavana sneak out the back door. While Mina is arguing with the officer and shutting the door in his face, Connor and Pavana find that the road is blocked by more police officers. They take a different path and end up on a security camera. Pavana goes with Connor to his apartment, and they see on the news that the police say Terk choked to death. Pavana is so angry that she calls out the lie that her powers go crazy and start to change the TV. Before something goes off, Connor needs to turn it off. Right then, Pavana picks up radio signals and lets everyone know that the police are getting closer. Soon, the police with a K9 go into the building and find Connor's apartment empty. He and Pavana have been hiding in a different apartment. As soon as they know they can leave, they do. They get outside, but when they do, two Guardians jump out of a drone and land in front of them. Connor shoots down a robot right away with his electrical powers, but he hasn't done this in a long time, so it makes him very weak. A voice from the drone tells them they're being arrested, which makes Pavana use her powers again to destroy the drone and let Connor and her escape. Connor meets up with Garrett and asks him to do him a favor because he has no other choice. Garrett tells Connor right away that he knows everything about Pavana and what happened with the police. Connor wants a new ID, cash, and a safe place for a secret friend of his. He tells Kingston that he has a deal with them. The police get some money from his sales, and in return, the gang is free to do what they want. This is how Connor keeps the community safe and makes sure the donors get paid, so they won't be caught. This is when Connor agrees to help with the fake papers. But he also tells Pavana that she needs to forget what she saw or the police will never leave them alone. Pavana says no at first, but Connor tells her that this is their only chance to stay alive. The group then visits a woman who can erase memories. The woman turns black eyes when Pavana touches her hands, and she starts to work on Pavana's mind. She deletes the memory of Tarek's death at first, but soon she deletes all memories that have anything to do with Tarek. Pavana protests right away because it's not what they agreed to, and Connor tries to stop it, but the gang holds him down while they explain that any thought of Tarek could bring the others back, so he needs to be erased completely. Pavana is furious and doesn't want to lose the memories of her beloved brother. She starts to fight back against the woman's ability to stop her. Another member of the gang with flame powers tries to burn Connor, but Connor hits the guy in the arm and makes him shoot at a pipe on the ceiling instead. As the rain falls, Connor uses it as a conductor to send his electricity through the group and defeat them all. Connor and Pavana then go to Mina, who offers to drive them away in her car. The police drone finds her license plate. They are suspicious because of how she treated the officer earlier, so they send men after her. Soon, Garrett and his friends are all around Mina's car. When they try to go another way, the car gets stuck in some rocks under a bridge. Garrett's telekinetic abilities are used to break the car windows. The gang members then violently drag the group out of the car. There are 2 guardians nearby who record everything for the police. They need to get this done quickly so that no one else sees another case of police brutality. Garrett is told to shoot Pavana, but Connor steps in front of them, and Garrett can't bring himself to do it. It's almost time for the Guardians to attack. They quickly kill a number of gang members and tell everyone else to hide. Garrett takes a bullet that seriously hurts him, and Mina also takes a bullet that only hurts her hand because her power is thick skin. A member of the gang tries to save a friend, but also ends up dying. When Garrett tries to use his power to take a mirror off the car, the Guardians also shoot it down. He tells Connor that they have to work together to stay alive because he is desperate. Maida agrees and tells Connor and Pavana to go away while she goes outside to be a distraction, and Garrett gets some rocks to use as a shield. Even though the men and Pavana run to Garrett's car and get away, Mina keeps getting shot until she falls. Mine is still alive when Kingston gets there because her skin is thick, but she doesn't have long. Kingston offers to help her get medical care in exchange for information, but Mina spits in his face and then dies. The 3 of them get to the empty orphanage where Garrett grew up in the evening. Pavana and Connor hold Garrett down so that he can use his magic to get the bullet out of his chest. Connor tells Pavana that they should go to the border while they eat, but Pavana is tired of running. Davis finds them in the morning and tells them that beating Kingston is impossible because he has too much power in the Force. Pavana says that all she needs is one of the K9s to be able to get to the recording of all the corruption and show it on national TV. Davis thinks that Kingston has a robot dog at home, so the guys figure out how to get there. After a few hours, Garrett and Connor go to Kingston's house and say they are police union reps who want to show their support for the sergeant. Stephanie Kingston is married to Kingston and doesn't know anything about his shady business. She is happy to let them in. From the car, Pavana sees Kingston leave his K9 in the garage when he gets there. Once he gets inside, he knows it's all a trick, but he can't say anything to Stephanie, so he lets the guys question him like they're old friends. At the same time, Pavana opens the garage door with her magic and gets to the dog. She touches it, and the K9 goes off. This alerts the police guy, who tries to call Kingston to warn him. Garrett uses his powers to gently move a knife onto the table when his cell phone rings. This is his way of telling Kingston not to answer the call. The tech then tries the home phone, so Stephanie answers it while Connor acts like he's going to the bathroom. Once they are alone, Kingston shows that he can also control magnetism and tries to throw the knife at Garrett, but Garrett blocks it right away. People with different powers try to use them against each other. Kingston hasn't used his powers in a while, so Garrett easily wins and the knife falls. Connor helps Pavana, who is very scared, focus on her powers and get what they need in the garage. Stephanie then comes back and tells Kingston that he needs to take care of his dog right away. Garrett decides to leave while still being polite. After that, Kingston quickly goes to his garage and sees that his K9 is missing. He tells all of his men to go look for it. The three of them leave in the car with the robot, and Pavana says she can see all the recordings. Garrett promises them a computer in a safe apartment, but when they get there, they find a bunch of gang members. This is the second time Garrett has lied to them. Connor is very angry and tries to attack Garrett, but Garrett stops him with his power. As it turns out, Garrett wants the information to keep running Kingston, the neighborhood, and the psych business. Next, Garrett has the power to cut off the dog's head and give it to a member of the gang, telling him to protect it with his life. When Kingston and his men show up, Garrett meets them outside and shows them the body of the robot. He then threatens to tell everyone about it if his people aren't left alone. Kingston, in response, stabs and chains Garrett and then sends his men and another K9 into the building. The group in the apartment sees that reporters are already coming into the area. Pavana tells them they can still carry out her plan, so Connor talks the guy into giving him the robot head. At that very moment, a K9 opens the door and the police rush in. Connor tries to shoot them with electricity, but their shields have been changed to absorb it. The police shoot right away, so Connor and Pavana run away. The gang members fight back with telekinesis, flames, and other powers that create a barrier of fire between them and the police. The K9 quickly puts out the fire, but then the police attack again, starting a fierce fight. With their powers and great teamwork, they are able to take out one police officer at a time. But when a man with superhuman strength tries to attack Kingston, Kingston stops him with his power and shoots him in the head. While this is going on, Connor and Pavana make it to the hallway, where a K9 approaches them. Connor keeps firing electricity at it, but it doesn't stop. The robot then tackles him to the ground and tries to inject him with poison. Connor, who is very upset, uses all of his power to hit the dog, which also turns off the power. Connor thinks he has won when the emergency lights go off, and he sees that the K9 is frozen. But the robot moves and starts injecting him. Pavana walks over and concentrates until she can take control of the robot and stop it, while the poison slowly works its way into Connor's body. Even though Connor doesn't die, the poison makes him weak. The It guy then comes in the elevator with another K9, so Pavana sends the first one out to fight. In one quick move, the first one easily destroys the newcomer. The police officer is scared and shoots, but the bullets don't hit the target. Instead, the K9 tackles him to the ground and cuts his fingers to take away his gun. When Connor finally gets up, he sees that Pavana has been hit by a stray bullet and is bleeding heavily. More police officers come into the apartment and beat up the gang members. Connor picks up Pavana and tries to take her outside, but he's too weak to keep going, so he drops her. They see reporters nearby at that moment, and Connor tells them to get closer. The police send another K9 after him, but Garrett can telekinesis it into a metal ball that can't hurt him. Davis finally shows up and tells the police to back off, letting the reporters get to the couple. Pavana touches both the robot head and the camera with her last bit of energy to let the whole country know about Kingston's dishonesty. Stephanie is very upset at home when she finds out the truth about her husband. Kingston comes out of the building and tries to shoot Pavana, but Garrett holds him at gunpoint and controls his hand. This gives Davis time to get to Kingston and arrest him. They pass out now that they've reached their goal. After 3 months, Kingston is being looked into, and reporters begin to follow the money laundering to higher levels of government. Garrett is in jail and is happy to be watching the news. Connor goes back to working as a cleaner and opens the youth center for all the kids in the neighborhood. A healed Pavana thanks him for everything. If you like this movie, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel.